Hey, this is Sidan, coach of the 66, not bringing you a battle for the YCL this week. This week, there was no battles taking place because of the Christmas break. Um, that allowed a lot of the coaches to just spend time with their families, doing all the the usual Christmas rituals. And I do hope they enjoyed their Christmas and leading up to the New Year, like a Happy New Year as well. But uh, I, for one, well, my family, me and my family, we don't celebrate Christmas, so I found myself just with some spare time, and so I decided just to do like a mid-season review of my own team, basically, what my thoughts are, kind of like the path. What are my chances? What I think of my chances of making playoffs are. Um, yeah, so. Um, So let's just get into the first thing I want to get into, I guess, is let's look at the standings uh, in the league. Now, the league is divided into uh, two divisions, and I am in the Crown division. And as you can see, I am currently ranked third. Now, with that said, obviously, I think this is all pending on how the Atlanta Sobbles perform in their two matches that they need to make up. Um, but at this rate, I'm third. I could be fourth, depending on that. Um, so at the moment, I am in a playoff spot, um, and it is with the next. Well, there's only 3 weeks left remaining, and with that with that said, there is really it's my spot to lose. Now looking at the team, I think looking at sorry, not looking at the team, looking at the rankings, it's really pretty much I think a 16 race for the top four spots. Um, I don't see unfortunately I just don't see the Nashville Neo Kings or the Indianapolis Malts or California Tarantrums to make it to the in a playoff spot. Now, I don't think it's impossible at this point. Uh, um, uh, it's especially for National New Kings. I think if he wins all his matches, and I think if Atlanta Sobbles have at least lost one of those, well, if Atlanta Sobble loses the next four of his five matches, I think, and if I lose the next three, I think National New Kings has a chance of making it in, but I think the other two, I think, are more or less has no chance. Oh no! If they win, obviously those minuses would go into will decrease. So I think there's no team has a 0% chance, but it's very unlikely those bottom three will make it. Now, obviously, I think with that said, could I make to it? Am I how, what do I need to actually make it into the to guarantee a spot? I do think that obviously winning my next three matches will do that, but I do think that if I could win two of them, and one of them has to be, I think, what well, one of my future matches is against Connecticut Solar, and I think I have to win that match in order to secure a spot into playoffs. I don't think if I lose against Connecticut Soul and and win my next two, I don't think it guarantees me a chance into playoffs. So yeah, that is I think going to be an important match. But I do think my chances of making to playoffs are really good. That said, also I think Wheeler Boomers and Austin Tauruses also have a good chance. Though Wheeler Boomers also has I think a very tough schedule moving forward. Uh, Same with Austin for us to an extent, but I think Wheeler Boomers out of the top four, there I think Wheeler Boomers have the more tougher schedule in terms of where the current what teams left and where the current positions are. So, um, but with that said, like let's kind of go back. I want to go back to my previous results and kind of break down my overall thoughts on those matches. So these are the 6 matches that were played. Okay, so uh, obviously I won my first week match against the Hostile Gods, and unfortunately it went to timer. That 3-2, I feel like uh, that 3-2 I easily could have been, I think, 3-0. Unfortunately, time was not to my favor, and um, no, like no offense to like the Hustle Gods, but um, it was in he did it was in I think the match was mine to lose from the get go. I think the fact that he didn't bring his one and only hazard remover, uh, and I focused on a hazard stacking gameplay, really just hurt him, and it hurt me, I guess, in a sense that it took way too long for me to take down his or to break down his team. So I paid for it with only a 3-2 win, but I think a win first round, first week. I think I rarely that rarely happens for me, so it set me up. But week 2, I think honestly, I think I know what my mistakes are, and I obviously I think I did learn from them, and I applied them into my future week matches. But overall, I am not. I wouldn't say I was upset with my performance in the against that match. I think I I knew that his Victini was going to be a big threat. I did have Pokemon. I did have a plan to deal with it, but I didn't execute it. I chose not to execute it, and in the hopes of trying to trying to predict to gain a better advantage. But I over predicted, and then obviously I didn't set up with the stealth rocks with Duraldon. I think if I did that, it would have been a different match altogether. I knew that my game plan was to do that, and I ignored that game plan, and I paid for it. So, uh, so I was unhappy in that sense of my gameplay there, but I think how I dealt with the match at the time, in the moment, I think the way I recovered, I think was I'm not upset with that. Um, but week 3, that week, I that is probably like the worst I've ever played, worst I've ever prepared for. It was just everything was just negative for me. I I didn't know how to prepare for the team. I literally finished building the team like probably an hour and a half before the actual match. Um, and then even though I built a team plan, I didn't even follow it through during the match. Yeah, it was just not my week, and I just honestly like my opponent did a great job in just like playing well, playing solidly, and obviously just taking advantages of all the opportunities I gave him. It's a solid play on his end. Really the lowest point for me, and I honestly don't even know how what to say. I don't even know if there's anything more for me to say there. Um, I mean, week 4 was, I think, a great comeback for me. I think I needed that win to really break this the losing streak I had. I think again, same with week 1. I paid for being really safe, playing really safe game there, and yeah, I couldn't tear down his team, and timer took its toll. Honestly, I think if there was no timer, well, to be fair, if there was no timer, I think that last few turns I would have played a little bit different. I wouldn't have sacked Flygon, um, but I had to in order to able to secure the win. Um, but yeah, I think having that safe game just to break that losing streak, I think I'll take that trade. So there's nothing more I can say there. Was pretty happy with that match. I wish and you know what, I used it as a learning experience. I think it helped me with my match against the National Nivea Kings, and that I kept Cinderace alive throughout that match and keeping pressure on him, and I was rewarded with that with a 4-2 win. Now I did have the advantage of, I think, more time to prepare than my opponents. He was feeling sick, so um he didn't actually prepare for the match until I think maybe a few days before, or even like the day before. So I had the advantage, I guess, in that sense. But I think taking the experiences of my losses, and even the aspects of my Atlanta Solo match, I used that to my advantage. And with the California Tyrantrums, I think I actually just lucked out the win there. I think it was pointed out to me how dangerous actually that Sea King was to my team. I didn't even realize that the Sea King was a Swift Swim. It was using Swift Swim, or actually, I think in my mind, I always think Sea King as a Lightning Rod user, and that I completely forgot Swift Swim was an ability it had. And after that Sword Dance, it's funny because it's the only time I didn't bring Unaware the Fable, and it was probably the only time I really needed it so far. So yeah, that Sea King really could have outdone me. Now, obviously, my Scarf Duraludon uh, did stop it. I'm surprised actually that the Draco guaranteed the kill. I guess I thought if we Swift Swim, he would have been a lot more bulkier. Even that he probably was gonna speed creep my Cinderace at that point, but that said, he could have really aggressively speed creep because he does know he has a slow team, so he could have speed creep Cinderace speed creeping Udra, so that would have made him even more bulkier, I guess. So there's that. But with that said, I did I did get lucky, I think, with the right time to Dragon Dance. But yeah, there's nothing more to say. I did underestimate the California Tyrantrum, and I just lucked out in the win there. So that is the matches, I think. Now looking forward, my next 3 matches, obviously, I got my very next match is the Connecticut Soul Rocks. This is going to be an important match. I think this is a must win. If I lose this match, I think my playoff spot is not necessarily gone, but it is very much in threat, even if I win against the Indianapolis Mults and Rillaboomers, because I think then I rely on I think Connecticut Solrock to either just like not win as hard as with a big differential, or at least lose another one of his week 8 or week 9 match. Same with the Atlanta Sobbles. So I think that week 7 is going to be important for me. Indianapolis Mults, I don't know what I'm gonna how to approach. Not approach, but unfortunately, one of the coaches, the former commissioner of this. I guess I should add. Yeah, we have a new commissioner, and he has taken over the league. Sen, he's one of the coaches. He's designed a new logo for it. Yeah, so but the old one, he had to be replaced, unfortunately. And I think Indianapolis Colts, I don't know how they play. He did inherit pretty much a team that is at a disadvantage. Um, he did lose, I think, his first match, but doesn't necessarily mean anything in terms of his future matches. I guess that's to say. But yeah, this is a team where I don't know what to do, how to prepare, because there's no history for me to really look upon. Um, and then I guess my week 9 match is against the Willa Boomers, who's the current leader. In terms of, I think, scheduling, is going to be the easiest one to schedule. We are in the same time zone. So unlike the others, I have to kind of do it there's only certain times a day I can really play. The Willa Boomers is probably a little bit more. But with that said, I do think Connecticut Soul Rock must win. And then, pending on the other 2 matches, I obviously need to win one more. Ideally, I want to win all 3, but we'll see how that goes. And lastly, I just want to quickly just go through my thoughts on the team I've drafted. So here's my team in the order I've picked them in the draft. And if you've been following my progress through the team, there's obviously 3 Pokemons I've brought every match. That is Cinder Ace, Fable, and Jellicent. I've brought them every match. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with what I'm. Well, I'm pretty happy with Cinderace and Jellicent. Now Cinderace, I feel like I've been trying to experiment with Cinderace, and I think the ones where the more out there builds, I think I paid with a loss. But I think Cinderace's value comes more in outside of battle, in terms of it forces my opponent to actually have to prepare for it. Yeah, it takes a lot of focus on for my team, I think. So I think that's where most of the value comes into Cinderace. I think Cinderace in itself actually is a good Pokemon. Obviously it's a good Pokemon, but in terms of what it needs to do in battle, I think it doesn't actually have to do much. Because I think outside of battle, it just does more than what it can actually do in battle. Now, I'm not saying that Cinderace is useless in battle, but you'll be surprised how much someone has to prepare for Cinderace. I actually don't really know, because I've basically drafted Cinderace ever since Gen 8 started, so I've never had to prepare against it, except that one time against G-Max Cinderace, and that was hard to prepare. Jellicent, obviously, I think just a great bulky water. I have enjoyed it. This is my first time using it in a draft league, and it's great. I'm super happy with it, and given that it's really bulky on the 2 sides, the special defense and defense, and has the tools to really just cripple my opponent's team. So, and it was a really huge player in that week 1 match, and my week 4 match against Lance Soul. So, yeah, the really, I think the MVP in my team, really. The Fable, even though I brought every match, I've struggled to branch out from use the Fable to, I think, to its full extent. I don't know what. Okay, the thing is, I drafted Fable because I hate preparing against it, but I don't know how much how much that's doing for my opponent. Um, just because I personally uh find it hard to prepare against Fable doesn't necessarily means I think others will. Um, but I did try to experiment it last week. Did not work out. Didn't really get the opportunity to. Um, yeah, I do. It is a solid defensive Pokemon, so I do intend to actually just use it. I'm probably still going to be using it every game, but we'll see. Um, and the fact that the Cinderace and Fable are my two highest, they're both S tier Pokemons. The fact that I'm using it in every game should be a surprise. I think they're usually the Pokemons that you want to value the most. Um, Duraludon, I think, has been interesting. I've brought it nearly every game. I think week one is the only week I didn't bring it. And it has been. At first, I struggled to use it, but I've actually the last few weeks I find that it's actually more. I've enjoyed it in my team. Uh, However, I do struggle uh, trying to justify it as my steel type. I think in the future, if I'm going to use Duraludon, I think I'm going to draft a second steel type. And the other time I have used Duraludon, it was a Gmax Duraludon, I did have Corviknight as my steel type. So it was, I did enjoy using Duraludon then. Now I'm finding it a little bit struggle as it's my soul steel, and it's kind of hard to justify it as that special defense is so bad. The assault vest has been helping, but yeah, I wish that I drafted a second steel. Flygon, I think Flygon's just been one of those Pokemons that have been surprised me. It is in terms of builds, it has been the most versatile of my Pokemons. In terms, I think I've used four different natures for it in terms of and I've done a defensive and offensive build with Flygon. So this is obviously a very versatile, more versatile than I thought. I used it the first time in MBL season 2, and I've been continuing to enjoy using this. Serena, I think, has also been a great pick. It's a great pick, but it's clearly like a Pokemon I find that I'm a little bit struggling to fit in teams. And I think it's been in it's been in every match I think except one or two, and I think that's just because I find it has more use than the other. Like, so obviously I think Duraludon, Flygon, Clefable, Cinderace, and Jellicent, I think I find it easier to use them to fit into a team. With the sixth slot, it often becomes Serena because I think just that Serena seems to fit in better than the other four. That's really how I feel with Serena. Now, I think Serena is great, but I think it's always just good enough, right? When I need it defensively, it just hits the defensive means. It doesn't leave a lot of breathing room. It is my go-to hazard removal Pokemon, so there's that. But yeah, it's one of those Pokemons. I think it's great, but I wish it was a little bit. You could either hit harder or just takes hit a little bit better. Overall, though, it's definitely a Pokemon I would use again. Last time I used it, it was like by bench warmer, and I drafted but didn't use it. And this season's pretty much the first time I've actually not used a bench warmer in a long time. So, Raichu, I feel like I don't know why. In MBL it was Pokemon I used a lot. This this with this league, I find I struggle to fit it onto my team. I don't know why it's I'm struggling to do it. I think whether it's my opponents or what my team offers, but I can't, I really don't know what it is with Raichu that I can't fit it on a team, and that I'm opting to go with something like Serena more often. But yeah, there's something I don't know. I like Raichu. I enjoyed using it in the NBL. It was, I think, part of my winning team, the championship team. Um, but yeah, I don't know what to say. It just struggles to fit into a team, and that's the same with Mushana. I feel like Mushana was I struggled to fit it in the team, but I think this is more not so much my opponents but my own team. I don't have a lot of slow Pokemons, or at least um, slow offensive Pokemons, so there's no real use to use Trick Room. Defensively, I think Mushana is great defensively, but I do have Jellicent and Clefable, and when I'm using those two, I feel like there's no need to use Mushana. So, um, yeah, that I don't know whether I'm gonna replace Mushana. I like Mushana. It was part of my uh championship team for my first championship, but that said, I do see use for it. Uh, and I know the value of it, so I don't intend to actually replace any of these Pokemons. But yeah, Scraggy is another Pokemon. I'm surprised how bulky it is. Uh, my issue is that if it's very much if I go for bulk, it really does not hit hard at all. Um, and then vice versa. If I can go for offense, it surprisingly can fall pretty easily to uh to other Pokemon. So I did use in that first week as a defensive check for um Chandelure, but outside of that, I've struggled to fit it onto a team. And it is a Pokemon I want to explore a little bit more after given that first week. But yeah, it was obviously I wish I don't know, maybe in the future I will drop Scrafty and see how that goes. But at this point, I kind of want to. I don't know if I'll ever use Scraggy again in the rest of this league, but I hope to. But I don't know. Whirlipede was Pokemon. Obviously, I think I chose it as like I knew I needed a low point Pokemon, and I just chose Whirlipede because it just sounded, given what moves it has, it seemed interesting. It was pivotal to my first week win, but I really don't see myself using it anymore. I'm happy with what it did in this first week, but um, that said, I don't see any use. I'm gonna get out of it. Um, uh, will I use it again? Maybe, but I don't know. So that is my thoughts of the team. I think I know this is kind of like just a big giant team builder, but I hope you guys enjoyed my own thoughts of my own team, which sounds very narcissistic, but whatever. uh, if you enjoyed the video, I really would appreciate a like. Also, I usually say this in my battle videos, but check out anyone else in the league. I'll probably leave a link to all the other coaches in the description below. Check them out. How I don't know if they're gonna do something like this. Probably not, because they're probably celebrating with their family. But yeah. So just check them out. Follow them. See, especially there's I'm only one half of the YCL. Obviously, Crown division. There is other division, the armor division, which has a different story altogether. They're I think their playoff spots are more open. I think there's more teams that have the potential of making playoff than in the crown. But we'll see. If you want to follow my progress through the YCL, I think the best way to do it is to subscribe. But until next time, the next video is obviously going to be the week 7 match against the Connecticut Soul Rocks. So hope to see you there. Until then, I hope you guys have a great day. See ya.